The silence is the first thing you notice, not the quiet of an empty room, but a completeness. A silence so total, you can hear the faint hum of your own failing machinery. They used to call it progress, the endless churn of the economy, the roar of the factories, the promise that tomorrow would be faster, richer, and bigger than today. And we loved it. We sold our lives for it. Well, we got our final upgrade. I live in what used to be a corporate data center. The servers, they're really my only friends now. Mostly they just blink. Their LEDs flickering in the dark. A last defiant pulse against the inevitable. It's funny that we thought information would save us. We thought if we could just quantify everything, optimize everything, we'd achieve immortality. Instead, it just gave the architects a more efficient way to count their own money while the world burned. It wasn't a bang. There were no bombs falling from the sky. Not at first, at least. The end was a line item on a budget. A quiet, tidy decision made in a boardroom thousands of miles away from any battlefield. It wasn't an army that marched, but a memo. A simple, hungry, parasitic idea that stability was more important than freedom. That safety was a product you could buy by selling your own vote. That the desperate, the tired, the 99% of us would happily trade a voice for a full belly and the promise that someone else would take care of all the bad things. People didn't die from radiation. They died from convenience. The wars were the first clue. Not wars for survival, but for resources, for oil, for rare earth metals, the glory of a flag on a map. They sold it to us with words like freedom, patriotism, democracy, but the language on the spreadsheets was much simpler. Profit margin. They would show us faces of the enemy on glowing screens, tell us that they hated our way of life, and that we would line up our children, our brothers, our friends, and send them to die. The men who started the war never saw the mud. They never felt the cold. Their children went to the best schools, secured in fortresses of wealth, while our kids came home in boxes, or not at all, so they could build a legacy and continue to rape the world for its resources. We were the final fuel for their machine, the blood and bone that greased the gears of their power. But we let them. We were the sheep, and we were led to the slaughter willingly. They gave us distractions. They gave us enemies to hate. They gave us little screens to scream into so we wouldn't notice the walls closing in. The greatest trick wasn't making us believe their lies. It was making us believe that our vote didn't matter, that our voice was too small, that it was better to just tune it out, to disengage, to just let the adults handle it. So we did. We traded our power for comfort. We traded our future for a little bit of temporary safety. Nowadays, the wind blows through the empty canyons of steel and glass. I walk through the old cities sometimes. I see the logos, half eroded by acid rain, the names of banks, tech giants, of conglomerates that owned everything. They weren't fighting each other. They were carving up the corpse. While the real world, the one made of soil and water and air, waited patiently for us to finish our stupid little game of acquisition. Sometimes, when the power grid flickers for a moment, I swear I can still see it. A ghost in the machine, not the darkness. The other world, the world before, the world of endless manufactured light. I see the phantom glare of 100 screens in a darkened apartment. I hear the faint, distant cheer of a crowd at a sports game that doesn't exist. I feel the phantom vibration of a phone in my pocket with a notification I no longer care about. And sometimes, late at night, I close my eyes and I'm back here. I can feel the warmth of a delivered meal to my doorstep, the comfort of a climate-controlled room, the blue light of a screen on my face, my thumb scrolling, and scrolling, past images of war, past the articles about climate, past the stories of corruption. I can feel the apathy, the deep, comforting, seductive apathy, the certainty that it wasn't my problem, that someone else would fix it, that my one small voice couldn't possibly change anything, so why even try? I open my eyes, and I'm here, in the silence, in the world we chose. The Kardashev scale was a test, a measure of a civilization's maturity, the ability of a species to harness the energy of its world, and then its star, and then its galaxy. We never even made it past the first stage. We couldn't even manage the energy of our own planet without burning it to the ground. We failed the great filter, not because of a meteor or a supernova. We failed because our leaders were greedy, our people were apathetic, and our legacy is a dead planet and a blinking server light in the dark. We are the great filter.